All right. So we're currently trying to build a squall here on my EU account on BlueStacks. Tends to be a little laggy. We're going to hope it holds up and we can sort of test this out a little bit. I have a ridiculous amount of speed ups because I get them all day now from Mbenga's storybook. So moving through this portion of the game has certainly got a lot faster. So let's see what we can do. If it doesn't work, Tuesday we'll flip over and we'll do stuff on the main account. I will say it's not the most impressive looking ship, but we'll see what we can do. Chris has got 3 ships grinding in MU. Okay. It almost reminds me a little bit of the ship from Alien, the Nostromo, the mining ship. Kind of just the way it's cobbled together here. It's definitely smaller than that ship, but so I don't know, something about it sort of reminds me a little bit of it. All right, so Master of Transogen mining. It's got an auto defense, so you can kill the attackers. Head to these systems to work on this stuff. Start getting the epic loot. That's what we all want to do. So we can enhance. We're also going to now get some additional mining capacity, right? So let's first go into our refinery because that should have changed. Lawston, thank you for the subscription. Appreciate that. In our Transogen refinery. So now we've got a tier 1 claim. Okay. We get some Black Ops Chapel shards. We get some rare and epic. We get some of these uncommon artifact tokens. There's also uncommon in here too. Nice. And yay, a whole lot more speed ups. All right. There's like 300 days of speed ups right there too. When I get the Squall to tier 5, I get another reward. Okay, that's going to have more stuff, more chapel shards. Okay, I don't have her unlocked yet on this account. Actually, I don't think I have her unlocked on either account. And now we've got an epic refinery. So now we're refining the raw epic, which looks an awful lot like the stuff that comes out of here. The Transogen forge dust. They couldn't have chosen a different graphic for that. That looked a little different. And then what's this? Excuse me. So by killing the auto grinders, I will now get this stuff, which I can then also trade in for additional epics as well as more speed ups. That's going to change based on the tier of the ship. And it just froze and kicked me out. So we'll go back in and try again. Yeah, I apologize. A little bit of a little tickle in the throat here this morning. Need some ice cream? That would be great. Although dairy actually increases, sometimes for some people, it can make that actually worse. Rain incoming in 11 minutes. We just got an alert. Ultravetica has redeemed bad TV edit cursing only. Ugh. Well, this is just flippin' unbelievable over here. All right. I think we were looking at the frickin' refinery to see all the new wonderful items that we can get before we were so rudely interrupted. All right, so now I've got a strong box. All right, let's see what's on here. So this is cashing in Refined Epic, which I just got a little bit of in my gift. And this is going to give me more speed ups. Geez, did you think they're getting the memo that G4 and G5 players were like, hey, we're tired. We don't have a great sourcing to Latinum. We need more stuff to speed up our buildings and whatnot. And they're like, here you go. Well, if you get the Serene Squall, we will solve all your dag nabbit problems. You also get the mining bulkhead. This is what you need for upgrading the ship. This is the black market schematics is for upgrading the research. And then you get these artifact tokens as well. And now we also get a whole new section here for acquiring older artifacts, especially something like the classic tricorder. Cost efficiency of upgrading buildings. G4, 5, and 6-star material, base cost, and sigma cost. This is a good one to source. Now, it's going to take a gosh darn long time to get it, but that'd be something I want to source on right away. Janeway's pocket watch, the Krenum time weapon, you should be getting through the DTI store, so this should be overkill. Krenum strand is also in there. Anorex's datapad is in either that one or the Xborg store. Star Dispatch. Now this one is for research cost efficiency for G4 through 6. Okay, that's not as bad or as needed. Research typically doesn't take too much in the way of materials, but okay. Then you've got shield hit points. This is more research. Is this specialty research? Omega mirror dust, Gorn eviscerator parts, and interdimensional data when used on research nodes. Okay, so a couple of specialty researches. This might make more efficient. That's not so bad. More mirror dust research, no. Apex shred, but only against augments. Apex shred against players. And this is G4 and G5 ship part efficiency, which could make that scrapping mechanic even easier for you if you lower your ship part costs up to another 400%. Is there another source for the classic tricorder? We had an event maybe 6 months ago where there were like 6 basically things like this. The classic tricorder, I think Geordie's visor, a few other things where you would have gotten enough currency to get one of them unlocked, and depending on which one you picked. And then the only other sourcing I believe has been cash if you want to buy it. All right, now we also have these choice tokens, and this gives us sourcing for some of the older artifacts, most of which have other sourcing already. Like many of these are in the Alliance Tournament store. The orbs are in your temporal store, along with this kind of stuff here. So it's a slight acceleration, and these are also in the Transogen refinery for the uncommon materials. So it's basically an additional method of sourcing to sort of expedite acquisition of these things. Hey CDB, good to see you. What's up, Happy Cat? Welcome on in. Carissa, Barkman, Breaker, Ultra, Somebody, Brett, Siggy, GP, Lost In, Floyd, anybody else I missed? All welcome on in. Good to see you. As far as the rare choice tokens, again, a lot of stuff that has other sourcing to it. I'm not seeing anything like exclusive in here. This is again just an acceleration of existing content, things that you are normally getting through your temporal disruptors or some of your other refineries. There might be DTI devices. This is stuff from your faction stores, your Friendship 1 probes. But there are a couple in here that are also only in the Transogen refinery, so you could accelerate like especially these four, right? These are your mastery ones. If you wanted to get additional sourcing to accelerate these, what are we talking about here? That's 50. That's a big number, right? That's a pretty big number. So you could certainly use this opportunity to push one of these up a couple of days. I mean, you're getting 16 a day, I think, if you do the normal refinery. So for some of these, that could be pretty big. Apex barrier with hull breach. While they have hull breach, you get additional apex barrier. Okay, that's pretty good. Classic phaser. That's another one that doesn't really have unique sourcing. There's a couple in here that don't. Like they were limited time items in stores and things when they came out, and they've only been cash purchases since released. I know that once you acquire them, though, then they tend to go into the temporal disruptors, so you can upgrade them easier. Same thing like with the Glavin and some of this other stuff here. Once you acquire them, they're typically easier to upgrade, but it's that getting them the first time that could be a bit of a problem. So I might actually go for the phaser here, because I put hull breach on everything. Now it's only 1,000 apex barrier though, so you know what? That's not really a lot in the grand scheme of things. So maybe that's not worth it just yet. Maybe we'll think about that one for a little bit. Mad Hatter, good to see you. Gunner, good to see you. Scarin, hey, welcome on in. Yeah, I might just instead accelerate some of my mastery ones over here instead. Or something that I haven't acquired yet, like one of these two, because I've been spending all of my rare materials on these ones. Maybe this is an opportunity to pick up some extra. Don't use any of those researches. I hate that it goes all the way back to the beginning. That's really annoying, especially because when I scroll through here, I tend to get a little dizzy. That's not good. Nearest legal tome. So this is upgrading your efficiency for your specialty buildings, right? This is your DTI building, your treasury. Quantum communicators is your command center, right? Replicator, the holodeck, the artifact gallery schematics. Like there's some stuff in here that could really help upgrade this. So this is actually one I think I want to start working on and getting this one unlocked and upgraded here. And again, like I said, those are available. I don't know what my bulk refine here is. Oh, I can work on a second Serene Squall if I want. Okay, cool. But if you go into like your regular rare one, you can, this is where you're normally sourcing those types of things. The tome is also available in here, which we're going to start acquiring. But you're talking about very low numbers, only one apiece, which is going to take a while to unlock it. Chris says, just don't take your armory to 61. What am I missing there? What happens if I do? And I can keep getting Serene Squall blueprints if I want to build a second one. Oh, I'll be honest. I don't know that I do right now. I don't know that I'm going to feel the need to have a second one. At 61, the daily claim on building parts goes away. Well, that's not very polite. All right, let's look at our actual ship now that we built the stupid thing. Now, I don't really want to upgrade this ship because we do have an event coming on Tuesday that will require spending these ship parts. So even if I do get them, I don't know if it's Tuesday or Wednesday, but we're going to have an event that's going to require that. But I will do this, and let's at least get this part done. And let's actually take a quick peek into the research. So the research for the Squall, we have the one research here for the Forge. And then the other research, is it in the Starship tree? Is that where they put it? Yeah, it's right here in the front. So this is where you're using that black market schematic stuff. So the first one you've got is warp range. That's obviously an important one to get. Then you've got apex barrier, isolytic damage, automated defenses, crit chance. Like those are all good ones to work on. The jump drive for it, I don't know. This one doesn't seem as relevant because it's not a very long flight to some of those systems. And then down here at the bottom, you have improvements to make the Squall mine faster on the common, uncommon, and rare ones. Again, this seems like a little bit less of a necessity because your building is also giving you big percentages on those. So working your way through the middle is what most people tend to do right away because they want to get to this area out here for the sweeps. So you're going to get mining speed, FKR damage, an extra officer preset because you want to get to these. So your G3 to G6 mining goals are finished by mining Transogen. So you just get these very much like the X-Borg store did for us, the X-Borg faction, where you did the research and then you could go kill the freebooters and it counted as your swarm and it counted as your FKR dailies. There are sweeps for these as well that you're going to work your way through the middle here. And then instead of having to always find a crystal gas or an ore node, which might be hard on your server in certain zones, you can just go mine Transogen and it will count to complete your dailies. Now, obviously, it doesn't count for things like specific ticket events that we have. It's only going to help you complete your dailies, which will then give you some of the material as a reward, so at least you can keep doing your refineries and things like that. All right. Let's take the Squall out for a run. I have a mining crew on right now. We're just going to see how that goes. We're going to go up to the lower level systems. I want to go into this bottom track here. Now you see here, it's obviously 5,000 hazard resistant arts and 5,000 damage of a hazard. It's a level 10 hazard, so it's going to basically completely destroy anything that's not the Serene Squall in about 4 seconds. But I haven't been to any of these systems yet, so we're going to start working our way up and just see how it goes. I've got warp 62 to start with. Let's just look at what's a basic entry-level system here. There's our Serene Squall. We are mining the raw epic at 70,000 an hour. And I would want to turn this on, potentially so if I'm attacked. This ability has a 10-second cooldown. Okay. And it's going to last for a small period of time. You can't do it while you're actively mining. You have to move off a node. So I'd have to move off. I'd have to turn on my automated defenses. Currently it lasts for an hour and it's got a 1 hour cooldown on it. Now, like we said, we're mining at 70,000 an hour at the basic level 40 system, the entry level system. What do I need for the actual pull? The first level pull of the epic here is 85,000 for a single chest pull. So that's just over an hour, maybe an hour and 15, hour, 20 minutes to get that done. If I want to do a double chest pull, well, that's like 7 hours, just over 7 hours I'd have to be mining this to get the 500K. Now, Chris points out in chat that higher level systems do have higher mining speeds, which we'll try and take a look at in a second here. I think it just locked up again. Yep, there we go. Got kicked out again. This is the unfortunate side of doing this through BlueStacks, is that the frickin' thing doesn't always work the flippin' way it's supposed to. It just takes a lot of memory, and there's a lot of lag between it going through the extra servers. I know there's a way to partition your Windows so you can run multiple PC clients at the same time. I tried it, it didn't work out the first time for me, and it hasn't been enough of a pain point that I've gone back to troubleshoot to figure out what steps didn't work out for me. Because I don't typically stream from this account. It just so happened this is the one time that this account was ahead of my main account. And I didn't want to wait. I wanted to get this content out there and share with everybody. I think this is also the reason a lot of people don't use mining crews on the ship. They'll use more combat crews so they can kill more of the auto grinders. Because you do get these Transogen manipulators. Do they also drop loot boxes? Let's see what's in the loot boxes. Let's see what's in the loot boxes. You get a few extra 100 in there too, so okay, that's cool. I think I needed like 4,000 for a pull, so I'm already at 2,500. Let's see how we get. Chrissy tried on his video a while ago. There was a step he missed. Maybe that's it. Maybe that's, if you're going to make a video with step-by-step instructions, you can't skip a step. I don't know if we'll get one more, but we'll certainly see. And then I could also just shake the tail like this guy did. If you don't want to deal with them, you can still just Picard maneuver and shake your tail. All right. So now I died. We'll repair. And you're right back here. Your debuff is fixed. Now I'm going to switch docks. This will probably be easier. Let's just do this. Put that ship back where it goes here. Let's just take this one. This is a Reliant crew. This is a combat-based crew. Let's see if this would have any impact. And we'll fly right back out here. Nope, wrong ship. That'd have been fun. All right, so let's see. With a mining crew, basic mining crew, right? It's taken 5 rounds to fight these things. I'm doing pretty good damage on the crits and the basic attacks back to them. I'm taking a little bit of damage, mitigating about half. mitigating most of the isolytic, which is where the bulk of their damage comes from, is isolytic. And a little bit of barrier to help with that. Shields kind of absorbing most of it, so we are only taking small amounts of hull health each time, but these things do have multiple weapons. And obviously the longer the fight goes, the more time you're getting shot. So of course anything that's going to help you, and we can just go kill some hostiles here. Sort of move the fight along faster would certainly be more beneficial. Oh, that's right, I forgot to turn my defenses back on. See, that's what happens if you do that. If you forget to turn your auto defenses back on, well, then you just die. Because you don't get any of the damage bonuses. Oops. I was too busy yapping, wasn't paying attention. Yeah, we're taking more isolytic, more base damage. Yeah. Definitely need that automated defenses. So let's turn that back on. And let's go kill another one or two of these. Oh, we died again. Why am I dying? Does the automated defense only works when you're getting attacked? I think we just learned that, right? So me going out and trying to proactively attack these things, also not working. And again, this is probably where reading would come into play. I was actually reading these things. But I'm too busy chatting. So maybe instead of clicking through the screen, we'll slow down and actually read it properly this time. Yeah, I know it is called defense, right? It's called automated defense. This is the cautionary tale. This is the don't do these things preemptive warning. Protect the Serene Squall while it is mining if attacked by another hostile or a player. So you have to be attacked by the hostile to get all these benefits. If you're attacked by a player, you get these separate benefits. And remember, you can't turn it on while you're actively mining on a node. So you have to passively be just chilling. All right, now if we go back to the ones we were fighting earlier, where we were just actively chilling. The fights were going about 5 or 6 rounds with the mining crew. Our base hits were hitting for about 500, isolytic for 1.5 million, and then occasionally we got to throw a critical in there, which was pushing us up to 4 million and 12 million. So basically, the isolytic is hitting for about 3 times as much as the base damage, approximately. Now that we've switched to a little more combat-oriented crew, again, we're still using, this is the Reliant punch-up crew that we're using here. Fight went 3 rounds. I'm sure there's obviously much better crews. You could use, you know, your regular hostile hunting crews, your Strange New World officers and things like that. But if you don't want to tie those officers up for an extended period of time, you're going to have to look around for some other options. So we see here, kind of in the back in that same boat we were in before. We're mitigating, we're blocking most of the isolytic. We've got a small amount of hull health coming through each round. My base damage has gone up significantly, basically doubled. We're up to 1 million of each, tripled the basic isolytic, almost 3 million. So certainly hitting a lot harder, which is why we cut the number of rounds down. And then we've got the criticals doing 7 and 19. So a pretty significant upgrade there. So we like the Wesley crew for that. But we are going to move up How far can I reach? Oh, I can't even get there because this system requires a higher warp range. Now, if you take something like the Disco or one of the other ships, there's a chance you can get in there and summon something else, but you're going to have to be quick about it because otherwise you're just going to blow up within the first like 10 seconds because of the hazard. So there's a little bit of a chance that you can pull this off and get to one of these higher level systems. And that's just something to be mindful of. Let's see if we can do anything in our refinery yet. Let's see what we got. We can't do this yet. We need more of that material. And this one requires another kill to get this box opened. Okay. And then as far as research materials, the only way we're really sourcing that is also through the daily strongbox, and I'm pretty sure I don't have enough currency yet to start those. We looked earlier. So this just might be a slow auto grind situation, or just one of those things where, you know, I do what the other people did and I just ditch my tail and I just sit there and mine some of the epic for a little while. Yeah, this is the one you would want. The automated defense crit chance. This will drastically improve your ability, getting a 20% bump in your crit chance, right? At level 1. That's going to cut the fight down a lot shorter. So it feels like you want to take some of this top row stuff, get a little more apex barrier, so you live longer, do more isolytic damage, so you kill them faster, get the crit chance, so you kill them faster, and then come back and probably work your way through to get to the sweeps. I would start with the top row of the research. Does the new Scotty and Mbenga, Seamus asks, work on those officers? Now that's an interesting thing, right? Because they did change their stats a little bit. Let's go take a look at those two officers. So they did change Scotty. Yep. And we got kicked out again. Yeah, summon into the high. That's what we were just talking about summoning. If you can time it right and pull it off quickly before your disco or whatever gets blown up, it could definitely work. You're just going to have to be quick on the controls. Or time it out right. Let's take a look here. You know what? Let's just go to stfc.space while we're waiting for this to boot back up. We can look at officers in here. Strange New Worlds, Montgomery Scott. Isolytic cascade damage by 40% versus Suliban hostiles. So this would work the new Suliban. This would definitely be a big bonus to help him in the Squall. That's why they changed his officer ability. Black Ops Mbenga was also changed, his below deck ability. No, sorry, his officer ability here. Increases isolytic defense against hostiles. I don't seem to be having a trouble with the defense. It just seems to be the offense not hitting enough. Okay. Yeah, Pike Moreau Scotty. Yeah, I mean, obviously, people are talking about Pike Moreau Scotty, Strange New World Pike Giorgio and Scotty. Again, trying not to utilize necessarily officers that you might want everywhere else. So I don't think Strange New World Pike, because he's part of what most people would use, for hostile grinding crews and things like that. But Picard Beverly and the new Scotty might be interesting. We can certainly give them a shot in a second here. And we're also going to try a disco jump and see if we can't summon that way to get to a higher mining system and just sort of check some things out there. I kind of just want to die so I can go back to base, so I can recrew. So let's just do this. Let's just speed this up a little bit. VK, congrats on leveling up, going to 69. Let's try this. That's probably easier to do below deck ability to find that Scotty. Yep. Let's flip him around and put him there. So now we're going to get more isolytic cascade damage. The Eviscerator. The Eviscerator could work too, opening a rift once I get to the system. And then I'll die, and then the rift should stay open. My apologies. We're going to try the disco first. Ideally, I'd wait an hour because there's an event to use the disco. But let's just take a peek. So previously with the Wesley crew, we had moved up in damage. We were hitting for... We had gone from 500 and about 1.5 million to hitting for about 1 million. And so basically we doubled our damage output by switching to Wesley and running that crew that we've been using with the Reliant. I forgot to turn on my automated defenses again. Don't be like me, folks. Remember to turn that on. Problem using the disco is I might not get a chaser because the chaser is going to chase the disco instead. That might actually be okay because I'm probably just going to want to be mining in those systems and not necessarily because that's going to be a higher level. They're just going to kill the squall in 1 or 2 shots. So if I'm moving into a higher level system, it's going to be solely just for doing the mining to get the Transogen faster, the epic material faster. Okay, so this fight seemed to go much better. Also only 2 rounds. If we look at our damage output here, our base damage for the standard damage stays about the same, but the isolytic goes up quite a bit and the critical hit much harder. It's hit much harder on the critical. So the base damage is low, most of which is getting mitigated, but it's the isolytic damage that's coming through a lot more. So there's certainly some opportunities there for stuff. All right, let's see if we can't find a higher level system to mine in. Let's go up to a 52. Oh, my disco can't reach a 52. Okay, let's go up to a 50 then. Oh, damn it. I tried to get cute. All right, so we just dragged the disco in. That'll blow up in a second. So the level 50 system, you can see now my mining rate has basically doubled. It went from 67,000 up to about 115,000. Whoops, wrong ship. So we basically doubled our mining rate. So if I need 500,000 a day, now I only have to mine for about 5 hours instead of, 8 or 9 hours. Oh, hi, Sancho. You made me a rift? Well, that's awfully nice of you. Where did you rift me to? The crane system. All right. Where is the crane system? The 68 all the way up here. Oh my. That's not epic space. That's not epic space. That's regular hazard mining. That would be something for a regular area. I would need to be in the bottom row. I would need to be in Theta Magna is where I'd have to be rifted to. But that's okay. We're going to switch ships here, and we're going to see what the Gorn Eviscerator can do. My Eviscerator is tier 11. It's got better warp range. And let's just hypothetically go out to one of these systems instead. Yeah, I can't get rifted to something 61 plus, right? That's also a thing. So I just opened a rift there. And now we're going to use the rift. We're going to move from the 50 up to the 52. And let's quick recall the Eviscerator. And now we can see in the 52 system, we are mining a little bit faster. The nodes are a little bit bigger. Now, all of this information, I could also just go look up the systems on stfc.space. I won't have the exact mining rates and things like that, but if I were to go to, if I go to look at Ionima, I can see on stfc.space, you can see the basic. Here's the size of the nodes. There's the rate, which is 6, which doesn't really tell you a whole lot. It also tells you the size of the hostiles that you'd be fighting. And if I go up to like a higher level system, like what's the level 60 system? Aiko. Now we're talking about 10 million, and the rate there is 10. So that's, a 40% increase over what I'm getting. Would certainly make things a little differently. VK wants to come kill me now because we're no longer allies. I don't know. Can you kill me on a node when I'm not OPC? Wouldn't that be against ROE? You got a long ways to go before you can come kill me. So yeah, so now we're by summoning up to a higher level system. Again, if I'm trying to do that double pull every day, I'm trying to get 510,000 to start with. This is going to cut me down to 4 hours. And in a second, when I can rift again, we'll try and go up to the level 60 system and just go from there. So yeah, so there's 2 aspects to this loop. There's the epic mining materials, and then there's the hostile hunting. Hang on, on 1 second, team. All right. So I think we can rift now one more time. Oh, another minute and a half. How long does it take me to fly out here? All right, so let's just fly the slow way. We'll just save the material. Baconfish, you've got so much jump juice on your disco because you've been using the eviscerator in your cube. Yeah, I mean, I've got quite a bit. So, and yes, obviously, depending on what you're using it for, you would want to swap your crews around. If I'm going to be out and I'm going to be auto grinding hostiles, I'd want a more combat based crew. If I'm just going out here and I'm going to be mining Transogen, well, then obviously I'd want things that are going to boost my cargo capacity and my protected cargo. It's got a very high protected cargo rate. But you could play around with the officers a little bit, and you might want to use something that's going to be a little more cargo friendly. You know, you've got storage optimization, where you can get synergy from, and a mining rate boost. You've got some of the other. He also, depending on if you want to add Grush or something like that, he's got a max cargo boost. So there are plenty of other officers below deck as well. You can add people that add cargo capacity that you can play around with. Yeah, sorry, Sancho. Yes, we were talking about that before. 60 is the highest that I can rift to. And now we're up to 200,000. And we crashed again. But as we can see there, so the level 40 system, I was mining at 67,000, moving up to like a 50 system or 52 system. It went to like 100 and then like 120, and it's progressively getting bigger and bigger, all the way up to the max that most people can reach being a level 60 system, because you can't, unless you're a G6 player, op 61, you can't rift to anything higher than that. So you'd be looking at the op 60 system. We're mining at about 200 and what it was, 240,000 or so. So it's basically 2 hours of there. So if you use the jump juice or summoning from the eviscerator or whatever to get yourself out there, then you only have to auto leave yourself, ditch your shaker, or it's going to chase your disco or your eviscerator instead. And then you can just leave yourself auto mining or just grinding away there for about. Oh, nice. It kicked me out and it brought me back to base. Awesome. That's another little bug. They haven't fixed that one yet. If you rift somewhere and then log out and log back in, your ship is back at base and you lose all your cargo. You don't lose the materials that you used to jump. That still gets taken away from you, but they return you back to base and you tend to lose your cargo in the process. It is an active bug currently that they have been told about multiple times by multiple people, and we are hoping it gets fixed relatively soon because it's really stupidly annoying. My cargo is small, I'll need multiple trips. Well, again, if I'm doing just the mining thing, this is why I'd switch. So we're getting 450. I only need 510. Now I have to be careful that I don't pick up a tail. Yep, there it comes. This is going to kill me. This is 19 billion. This is going to kill me. So that I have to shake. No, stop. So there we go. So 2 hours from now, my cargo will be full. And then I can just go on about my merry day. I'm going to shake your tail for you. That's Red's job, all right? You guys pay him for that. I don't want to take that away from him. But that's kind of the essence and the bulk of the whole Serene Squall loop mechanic. You know, it's a two-part auto grind, essentially what it is, because one part you're mining stuff and one part you're killing stuff, and you can do them both at the same time if you want. Obviously you're going to do them both slower that way, but they are still being done passively. Or you can focus your time and attention on just the mining part or just the hazard killing part until you get enough of the materials that you want so you can do the actual refinery stuff. Pick up a little bit extra of the epic Transogen. Now, as far as the raw epic, I have 32,000 currently. What's up, Zero G's? Good to see you. So, and again, as the ship progresses, some of these things will be less necessary. You know, you'll get the research to do the warp range boost pretty quickly. You know, you can use an officer like Grush, who's also going to help boost your warp range. I think the first level of this warp range is actually pretty good. 55 is the first level, so that's a big jump right there, and level 2 is another 55. So by level 2 of this research, you've got 110 plus the base, 60 or whatever that I've got on the ship, or 50 plus Kirk's ability is also kicking in on that. So realistically, in a very short period of time, getting to these systems here, this is, well, these are higher. These are warp 700, of course, but getting, a tier 1, even getting out to, oh, it's not going to tell me because dirt, it thinks I'm already in that system. So hang on, I gotta switch to a ship with very low warp range. I gotta switch to my Rialto for a minute so I can find out what it really takes to get there. The level 50 system is 190. 2 levels of research and maybe a tier up, or Grush, and I'm probably getting to the level 50 system without having to summon. And that itself was already cutting the mining speed in half. From the 40 to the 50 was basically double the mining speed. So that's going to make things better. And then going out to the 52, that's 230. That's, again, not as big of a jump. And this is going to be some of your early, tier 3, tier 4 ship research upgrades. Very quick to get out to these systems in terms of progression. The higher level content, yeah, you're probably still going to need to rift your way or disco your way, depending on which ship you've upgraded more to get that stuff done. So, anything I missed, anything you guys have questions on in the chat, you want me to go over again real quick, or you want to correct me on, please feel free to do so.